All right, so if everyone wants to look up just Autodesk Fusion on just a web browser, so I'll walk you through creating an account. So you're gonna look up Autodesk Fusion in your normal search bar, and then you're gonna pull up the Autodesk homepage here. So everyone here, cool. We're gonna go ahead, you're not gonna be logged in. Let me sign out real quick. So what we're gonna do is we are going to look up Fusion on the top bar here, and it should pull you to this screen. And we're just gonna click on free trial down here. And then we're gonna download free trial. Let me make a new account just so I can walk you guys through everything. So use your personal school account, whatever. If I recommend using your school account in case you ever do take one of the Fusion 360 classes at the school, then you'd have all of your files under one account, but you can use a personal one if you want. I already have a couple accounts made, so I'm gonna make a new one through a different email. Cool. So pretty easy. You should have it downloaded. I'll give you all a second to go through with that because it's going to need to send you a verification code to a phone number. It'll just text it. And this is where it's nice to have your own laptop if you got one, so you don't have to re-download Fusion every time. You can run Fusion through a web browser, but has a couple issues. The big one being if it times out, your stuff isn't saved. So downloading it to the computer, whether it's your personal computer or these computers, is highly recommended unless you're really on top of saving every 5 minutes. Then you can use the web-based one if you don't want to download it. And I think it's just fusion.online, or I think it's fusion.online.com. Let's see. Yeah, fusion.online.autodesk.com will get you to a web-based one here. So all right, and just to show you guys, this is it running through a web browser. It does work. Like I said, if you have a slower personal computer, like if your laptop isn't super powerful and you're worried about that, if you have a decent internet connection, you can run it through here. Just make sure you're saving often, because if it times out, it'll delete everything. But it looks nearly identical. It's just like this is the web-based one, and this is, you know, the actual downloaded to your computer hardware version. Pretty much the same thing. The only one other issue with it is it's a lot harder to export files through the online version. So another reason, if you can, to download it onto your laptop or computer or wherever. Does anyone not have Fusion pulled up to like the app at all? Everyone's all loaded in. But today I think my thought is we're gonna kind of get oriented in Fusion, but then we'll probably try and break up into our groups and start kind of talking with each other about design. I'll also walk you through some of the constraints we have. So for the next, like, I don't know, half an hour, we'll just focus on the Fusion stuff, and then the half hour following that will be getting into groups, and then I'll also kind of help explain, because there are some limitations to how we're machining our chairs. Each team is gonna get a 4-foot by 4-foot sheet of 1/2-inch plywood, and you have that much material to use to make your chair. So you have to be able to fit all your pieces on that single piece of plywood, and there's also some limitations to what the CNC machine can and can't do. Yeah, so I think everyone's probably about ready here, and I'm just gonna kind of walk you through the interface. Yeah, so you'll do perfect. Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. It looks like everyone's pretty much set up. So you probably have a little sub window in the middle of your screen asking you something. It may look kind of like this, but blank. We're going to go ahead and we're going to hit new. You can also use Fusion kind of like a web browser in terms of tabs. So I just click the plus on this little tab icon and you can create new tabs. We're going to do everything in a hybrid design. So make sure when you create a new design, we're in the hybrid design environment. And I'm going to go ahead and click create new. You can always change it after the fact. So if you didn't do it in inches already, if you see up in the top left here, this is what's called my browser tree. I can drop down document settings, and if I click this pencil icon next to units right here, I can change to inches, and then I can click OK, and now I'm in inches. Like I said though, Fusion is kind of a hybridized. You're just setting your unit default with this. So down the line when we're creating geometry, you can always just tell Fusion, hey, I want this to be 12 millimeters, not 12 inches. This is just if you leave off some sort of denotation of what unit you want, it's going to default to inches. So I'll walk you through real quickly what we're looking at here on our screens. Up in the top here, this is kind of a contextual toolbar. So based on what you've done already, what kind of mode you're in, this will change and give you tools according to what you're able to do then and there. Fusion is a sketch-based design environment in the way where we start by creating 2D sketches, and then we modify those with extrusions or revolves or other similar 3D shape creation methods to create our 3D shapes. So that's this bar up here. We're going to stay in the design environment the whole time. You can mess around with render. I don't remember what the personal accounts give you access to other than that, but the only thing we're going to need to use is this design environment. Up in the top right, you've got your view cube. This kind of orients you based on how you are looking at your model. So you notice as I move around, that view cube is moving. A lot of people just click and drag on this to orbit and move around. It's best to get in the habit of using keybinds with your mouse. So if you guys hold your shift button down while clicking your mouse scroll wheel button in, and then move your mouse around, that's going to orbit. So that your scroll wheel is also a button. So click down on that, hold shift, move your mouse around, and you're going to orbit. And then if you don't hold shift when you do that, you're going to what's called pan. You're just moving side to side. So it's a good habit to get into, just moving around your model like that rather than grabbing for your view cube in the top right. You do have your pan option down here, which you can click and select and move stuff around, but it's way slower to do that, and it's much faster to just click your mouse wheel down. Highly recommend if you're working on this at home, get a mouse if you don't have one. On a trackpad, it's a bit of a pain. So mouse with 2 clicks and a scroll wheel. Some of the Apple mice are not that, and they're a real pain to use. And then lastly, on the bottom here, this is your history browser bar. So this will update as you go along and create. Let me just open up a simple file here. Let's see. So here's a bench I made, and you see how this bar down along the bottom is full of a couple different tools. So this would be like when I originally created a sketch, and then an extrusion, so on and so forth. Fusion's really cool because you can go forward and backward in time just by dragging this cursor here. So I can go back to when I created the top of the bench, and then move along until I find, hey, let's say that I did something wrong here. I can adjust it by going back in time rather than needing to append that with a fix you can fix it where your problem was created. So it's a good habit to get into thinking in terms of, hey, you can go back in time and fix a problem that happened. You don't need to tack on a fix wherever you're at. Yeah. So I'm trying to kind of keep this class brief. Last semester I taught the furniture design class. I went into a lot more detail. If I'm missing anything, let me know. Like if you're like, wait a minute, what did he just do? Call me out. I haven't really planned anything. I'm just winging it. So bear with me and keep me honest. Yeah, let's walk through. I'm just gonna do like some brief, easy shape creation, and then, like I said, we'll talk about the limitations of the CNC machine, and then we'll get into some groups. So, like I said, Fusion is based on 2D sketches. So up in the top left here, we have our Create Sketch icon. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that, and then you'll notice it pops up your kind of origin planes here. And remember, if we hold shift and click your mouse wheel down, you can orbit. And if we don't hold shift and click your mouse wheel down and move your mouse, we're just panning. So let's make something really simple here. We're gonna do like a super basic stool. So I'm gonna start by creating my sketch on this top plane here. So you'll notice I'm looking at the top here, corresponding to the top here, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that plane, and you should start a sketch, and you'll notice all your tools up here are different. Did that not work for everyone? Anyone? Is everyone on this same sketch workspace? You should see Finish Sketch in the top right and a bunch of new tools. Everyone's cool? Cool. Okay, we're gonna do like super simple stool. So imagine like a low poly video game, like Minecraft basically, stool. I'm just gonna keep it super basic for now, just so you guys get a feel for how Fusion works. So under the Create tab, you have a handful of quick access menu items. And then if you drop this down, it has everything up here and some more. So typically, I'm mostly just using lines, rectangles, and circles. You can set up keybinds, so you may see some of these tools pop up when I didn't click up here. It's because I have keybinds set up. I think I have a couple more keybinds than what the defaults are. So if something's not working for you, if you're like, wait a minute, what tool did you just click on? Let me know. I'll help you figure it out. But I'm gonna try and do everything by clicking on these tools up in this toolbar. So everyone, we're gonna start out with our rectangle, and we're gonna go down to center rectangle here. So I'm gonna click center rectangle, and now you'll notice up here, this is called my sketch palette. This is updated, and so I have a couple toggles. You can always, I'll show you real quick, you don't need to follow along with me right now. Also, real quick, you notice how I have the little box icon next to my cursor? That's showing me that the rectangle tool is active. I'm gonna hit escape personally to drop it. You don't need to do this. But I can also click on a 2-point rectangle and then toggle over to a center rectangle over in the right here. So whatever makes more sense to you in your head, you can toggle between rectangle types here, or you can just go to the center rectangle in this panel over here. We're gonna start at our origin point, so that's where the green and red lines intersect. On your computer, they may be a different color. I don't know. Don't pay too much attention to the color of them. I have a slightly different color scheme because my computer is in dark mode, and it's adapted to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click once in the center, and then I'm not clicking and dragging, I'm just moving my mouse. And then I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. And you can pan around and orbit around before clicking again. So you can move your view around, you can pan, you can orbit, whatever you need to see everything. And you notice that I have a couple dimensions that are automatically popping up. So I'm going to go ahead and use those to my advantage. You'll notice the 8.220 is already selected in blue for me. Let's do, I'm going to type in 12, and you notice how that updates on my screen here. If I press tab on my keyboard, so I'm pressing tab, you notice how it cycles between which one's highlighted. So I'm going to tab over until the other one's highlighted in blue, and I'm going to type 12. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit enter. All right, so everyone should have a square. Anyone not have a square? Like, no shame, raise your hand. I need to know where we're at. Cool, everyone's good? I might be over-explaining stuff. Sorry, bear with me. So this is all we need for this simple sketch, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish sketch in the top right. You can do it up here. You can also do it down in our sketch palette here. But I'm going to click up here, and then that's going to pull me back into my Solid Creation Tools tab. So I finished my sketch. You'll also, if you've been paying a lot of attention, I would be impressed, you'll notice that I have a new folder up here in my browser tree with all my sketches in it. So you can always come back and show and hide sketches. In Fusion, the default is after you, let's say, extrude from a sketch, it will automatically hide the sketch. So it's still there. You can go back and show it after the fact. I'll show you that in a minute here. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to extrude this square here. So I'm going to click on the extrude button. You can also press E on your keyboard. Nice thing about Fusion, if you hover over anything, it's going to explain it to you. So right now you see it's popping up telling me exactly what this is. So I'm going to go ahead and click extrude. And then let's do, I don't know, let's do maybe a 24-inch stool. So I typed in 24. I'm going to zoom out until I can see everything. And then you'll notice I have this kind of panel here, and I can change some different aspects of the extrusion. And one thing I'm going to do is I want kind of a tapered shape to this extrusion. So I can actually change my taper angle. So I'm going to click over here. I'm going to select under taper angle my 0.0, and I'm going to type in, let's do -10. No, that's too much. Let's do -5. So -5 degrees and 24 inches of extrusion here. So everyone should have this kind of semi-pyramid shape that they're looking at, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click OK. So again, this gives me a new file in the top left with bodies. I can toggle visibility on and off of these. And then you'll also notice it's automatically toggled visibility of sketch 1 off. You can turn it back on again should you want to, but I'm going to leave it off because I don't need it anymore. Everyone good here? Everyone has like a physical body? Cool. So let's go ahead and make a seat for the top of our chair. When we click Create Sketch, you'll notice it's not only going to pop up the original origin here, but it also gives us options to start sketches on any of these faces, which can be super useful. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to create a sketch on the top surface here because we're just going to give this a seat. So I'm going to click on this top surface, and it's going to create a sketch, and then now I'm brought into a new a secondary sketch. You should see another sketch 2 pop up on your browser on the left-hand side. And then in this case, I already know that this is underneath my seat. I don't really need to see this body anymore, so I'm just going to toggle visibility of it off by clicking on the eye right next to it. And you'll notice with this off, it still has brought in the geometry of that top surface of our pyramid. So this is great. This gives me something to work off of. That's all I need for creating the shape of my seat. Let's go ahead and use some curves on our seat. This is going to be an ugly stool, but I'm just trying to show you, hey, what we can do with our tools here. So let's start by, let's do a circle. So I'm going to click on my circle tool up in the top left here. If you aren't seeing this, that means you haven't created a sketch on the top surface of that pyramid, so you should see all these tools here. And I'm going to click on circle. I'm going to click on the center point here, and I'm just going to go, let's call it 15 inches. And then I'm going to hit enter. So I've got my circle here. We're going to make this kind of a squared off, a squircle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create, I'm going to click on the line here. You can also press L on your keyboard. And let's draw out a couple lines. These don't need to be perfect for now. We're just going to place a couple lines. And what I'm looking for is, you notice how when I'm at 90 degrees, I have that little green box that appears down in the corner here. I'm just going 90 degrees and another 90 degrees here. So it's a little off. That's okay. We can come back and adjust these. You're also going to notice that my circle is white. On your screens, it may be black. And then these other lines are blue. What white or black means is that it is fully constrained. So if I click and drag on this circle, I can't move it. I can't make it any larger because it's already dimensioned at 15 inches and it knows the center of the circles on the origin. These lines are blue because we can drag and move them around. So we want to dimension these and get them situated and locked in place. So that's what these constraints are for. Right now we're just going to use the tangent constraint. I'm going to try and keep this relatively simple. These tools are all defining relationships between lines, circles, points, whatever it may be. In this case, if you guys remember from geometry, tangent is basically a line that comes off from a arc or a circle without intersecting it, I suppose. I'm not a mathematician. So I've selected my tangent tool, and then I'm going to click on this left line segment here, and I'm going to click on my circle, and you'll notice how that snaps into place. It becomes tangent, and it becomes white, or on your screen maybe black, meaning that's fully constrained. We're going to do the same thing on the right. I'm going to click on this line and this circle, and it's snapped it into place. And I'm going to do the same on this bottom edge and this edge here of this circle. So everyone should see this kind of circle with an added kind of rectangle on the bottom half. So I'm going to hit escape. It's going to drop my tangent tool. And now I have this kind of profile here. We have two ways of, I want to round these corners over. We got a couple ways you could do that. You could draw in an arc. You could use a fillet tool, but I find the fillet tool in Sketch Workspace doesn't work as well. So we're not going to fillet it yet. We're going to make this a full solid shape, and then we'll fillet it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish our sketch. And I'm going to turn the visibility of my body one back on. For everyone who just joined, I'm recording all this. We'll post it to YouTube afterwards. So if you're hoping to be part of this this class, you'll be able to go back through, watch all this, kind of get your bearings for what Fusion is. So you guys should see your body one, and then sketch one is hidden, sketch two is visible. Does anyone not here? Any questions? Everyone's good? Cool. Okay. We're going to go ahead. We're going to use our extrude tool once again. So I clicked extrude. I can also press E on my keyboard. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this. I'm going to hold shift on my keyboard. Actually, I don't think you even need to. Yeah, you don't need to. And I'm going to click all of these shapes here that we're going to extrude to create the seat of our stool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to extrude this 0.75 inches. Now, one thing you're going to notice is this operation tool in our sketch, in our palette here. I'm going to drop this down and I'm going to change this to new body. So I'll show you real quick. Before I change that to new body, I'm going to leave it on join and I'm going to click OK. And you notice how I have all of this as one singular body here. This is fine for a lot of things, but where we're going to break our chairs up into individual parts so that we can lay them out flat to cut them on the CNC, I need a bunch of different parts. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go back to fix this. I can right-click that most recent extrusion and edit the feature. So this is how, like I was saying, using that history timeline to your advantage, I can go back and fix this problem where it was created. So I'm going to change my operation to new body instead of join, and then I'm going to click OK. And so now you notice I have two individual bodies that are individually, hideable. This will also make it so that in the future, when we make our chair, you will be able to pull all the parts apart digitally and then cut them and then reassemble them physically. So yeah, that is pretty basic entry into Fusion. Maybe let's tack on a backrest real quick, just so that we have a couple more tools under our belt. First of all, I'm going to save. I'm going to do Command S. On Windows, it's going to be Control S. And let's just save this as stool demo. And you can change locations here. You can create new folders and projects. I highly recommend doing at least new project and then putting this club or this chair design, whatever you want to title it. It's always a good habit to be in creating different projects here. So I'm going to call mine Ace Club, and then I'm going to hit enter. It's going to create it for me. And then I'm going to click Ace Club, and I'm going to save it to that location. Cool. So now you should have everything saved. One thing we can do, actually, we're gonna jump off of the modeling pipeline for a second here. We're gonna click on our profile photo in the top right. We're gonna go down to Preferences, and we're gonna change our automatic backup or recovery backup interval to 5 minutes. I think it defaults at 15. I could be wrong, but I changed it to 5 just in case this is your autosave. So I'll show you one more time. I clicked on the profile on the top right, Preferences. Oh, clicked on the wrong thing. And then under General, you should have automatic recovery backup interval. And I set mine to 5. Okay, tangent aside, let's finish up with this little stool here. We're going to give it a backrest. Oh, and I forgot, we want to round over these corners here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Fillet up in the top here. You can also press F on your keyboard. I believe that is a default keybind. I may be wrong. And we're going to zoom in. We're going to click on this edge and this edge. And then we're going to just type, let's maybe do 1 inch. And then I'm going to click OK. So now we've rounded over those front corners here. You can also chamfer if you prefer. So I'll undo that and I'll show you what a chamfer looks like here instead. I just used the chamfer tool here, and I'm just going to click on those same 2 edges and do a 1 inch chamfer. So instead of a round over, it's a chamfer. I'm going to leave mine at that 1 inch fillet. All right, let's go ahead. Let's make our backrest real quick. So we're going to create another sketch in the top left here, and then I am going to hide bodies. You can click on this eye next to the whole folder or individual bodies. I'm just going to hide all bodies for a second here, just so that I can click on this origin plane here. I'm using this plane because I know that it's centered on my stool. So all I've done, I've toggled visibility of bodies off, this center plane here, and I'm going to turn visibility of bodies back on. So now we're looking at the side profile of our stool. Everyone got that? Anyone not following? Everyone cool? Okay. We're just going to do a super simple backrest here. I'm going to go ahead and do a 2-point rectangle. And I'm going to place this guy just somewhere floating up here. And I'm going to do, let's do 6 inches. So I'm going to type 6, and I'm going to press tab to switch over to the other dimension. And I'm going to do 0.75 inches, 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to hit enter. All right, so I've got this placed up here. Again, going back to the whole black and white lines versus blue lines, you'll notice if you click, hold, and drag on this, you can move it around. Best practice that we have everything fully dimensioned. So we're going to dimension this from our seat here that we already have. So I'm going to use my dimension tool here. If you, for whatever reason at any point, like, lose a dimension, whatever, you can always click on your sketch dimension tool. And then you can click on either a single line to dimension the length of it. So you click once, move your cursor up, and then click again. And then you can input a dimension. Or in this case, we're going to be dimensioning this corner from this edge here. So I'm going to click on this point. I'm going to click on this edge.
Wait, sorry, did you go back to...
What's that?
To when you got the sign?
For anyone that may have clicked on the wrong plane, you can always go back and redefine what plane your sketch is on. So personally, I'm going to finish sketch. You guys don't need to follow along unless yours is on the wrong plane. But I'm just going to show you real quick. If you finish a sketch, and let's say that I had put this on the other plane, so this sketch was going this way, I can always fix that. So if I right click down on that sketch, I can redefine sketch plane. So again, I'm just right clicking that sketch when we created that, redefine sketch plane, and then this will let me select, in this case, I'm going to turn off visibility of the bodies, turn on visibility of the origin, and then now I can click on a different plane and click OK, turn body visibility back on, and now you'll notice it's on the other plane. So for any of you that had it on the correct plane from the beginning, don't follow what I just did, but if it was on the wrong one, you can always redefine your sketch plane. So you notice how that moved it from this side over to that side and back again. That's kind of changing your sketch plane, and that's Fusion's super great for stuff like this because you can redefine sketch planes and fix things after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to right click on that sketch and go back edit sketch. So I'm back in the editing side of things, and we're just going to dimension this backrest from the top edge of our seat here. So I'm going to use my dimension tool. I'm going to click on this bottom point here, and then click on this edge here, and let's dimension this maybe 6 inches. And then I'm going to dimension this front edge of our backrest here. And you'll notice this purple line that's appeared. It works great for us. We're going to dimension it from this point here. So I've clicked this edge, and then I've clicked this point, and then now I'm going to click to place my dimension. And I'm going to do this at, let's say 1 inch, hovering behind the seat. And then I'm going to finish sketch. So everyone should have kind of this floating rectangle and purple line up behind your sketch. What this purple line is because we've dimensioned from some geometry kind of pre-existing before we had created that sketch. Purple lines are projected geometry. So these will update, like let's say I went back in time and I changed my, my seat size. That will then update within the sketch and move this if I had, let's say, moved this, this back edge back farther. So Fusion will kind of recompute everything past any changes I would make. So I don't know if that really makes sense. You guys will kind of pick it up as you go along. I'm not the best at explaining stuff, so thanks for bearing with me. All right, we are going to then go ahead. We're going to extrude this shape. So we're going to click on extrude. and it's by default selected that because it's the only rectangle. And I am going to change my direction from one side to symmetric. And so once I do that, you're going to notice I can set my dimension that I'm inputting as being the half length or full length. I'm going to change that to whole length. And then let's say that we want this to be, 12 inches wide. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in 12. And you should see this kind of floating backrest appear behind our stool. And then I'm going to click OK. So I'll do that one more time. I just undid that. I'm going to walk you through that one more time. We're extruding. It auto selects that. We're changing from one side to symmetric. We're changing our measurement from half length to full length. And we're changing our distance to 12. And then I'm hitting OK. Cool. That is our stool. I'm going to save one more time. You could always go in and make some aesthetic changes pretty easily. I could round over, let's say I want to fillet the top corners of this. I can click on fillet. I can click on these top two edges here and type 1 inch. And then if I wanted to chamfer these bottom two edges, I can click on chamfer and click on both of these and do that 1 inch as well and click enter. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so that's everything for this initial demo, just kind of getting you guys familiarized with this. Let's go ahead and save this. I think that's all the Fusion will do for today. Mess around with it at home if you got some free time. I know we're all pretty busy being students, but if you really want to kind of nail this down, get used to how Fusion works, play around with it at home. All right, so this isn't the machine that we have here at the school. I used to work as a furniture designer at a place in San Francisco, so this was the CNC machine that I worked on there. It's a little fancier. This has a tool changer, so these are all tools preloaded into quick change trucks, I guess. Notice here these cuts that are already made were cut with a different bit. So we're cutting everything out of 1/2 inch sheets of Baltic birch plywood. For anyone not familiar with Baltic birch is, it's essentially, let me see if I can show you a photo of what I'm talking about. It has a really nice and consistent edge to it. So despite being plywood, you can still make furniture that seems somewhat higher end. Making it out of a standard plywood with a different edge, it's just not as pretty. So just keep in mind, hey, the edges of your pieces will have these layer lines in them. Here's a good example. So these are some kind of cheaper plywoods here, and then this one is a standard finished plywood. So this has what's called veneer on either side. It's like a paper thin layer of solid wood, and then a layer of basically powderized wood suspended in glue, and then a couple layers of cheap wood. This is often what higher end, not super high end furniture is made with, and then people take a piece of solid wood and put it over this edge of the wood to make it seem like it's a full solid piece. But it's much cheaper to do it this way. It's also much more dimensionally stable. Solid wood has a tendency to kind of move with temperature and humidity. So plywood is much more stable, and the stuff that we're using is incredibly stable in relativity to other types of wood. So let me show you a couple projects of stuff that I've cut. So this bench, for example, that I made, this has a couple individual pieces. Let me see if I can explode all of this. Oh, I need to make these. Let's see. Cool. So these are all like the individual pieces for this bench. I have these kind of slots cut into them so that it all just fit together. You'll notice if we zoom in on these slots, there is a limitation to CNC cutting in terms of any inside corner is going to be rounded because it's cut with a spinning bit. So to kind of counteract that fact, what people often do is they'll kind of take a little extra kind of Mickey Mouse ear out of it so that whatever this is fitting into will still fit despite having kind of a rounded inside corner here. So this is kind of fitting in here. I'll kind of show you here how everything fit into place. You'll notice, let me do this here. You see what I'm saying, how this clears enough space for this part here to fit. So that's one thing to think about when you're designing your chair. Everything that's fitting together like this will either need to have these little Mickey Mouse ears, which I can help you size up. I'm going to be here to answer questions for you. Or you're just going to need to come in after the fact with some hand tools and cut any rounded corners to be square. So that's one limitation. The other thing is we're making this all out of 1/2-inch plywood. You can't do anything thicker than that. It's pretty strong wood, but for something like this bench here, I did want to have this kind of stabilizer because this is a little wider. It's a relatively small bench, but it's just wide enough that it needed a little bit of stability here, and then same at the bottom here. The other thing, and the reason that I was showing you, if you remember back to the extrusions, there was the join command and then there was the new body command, and that was what made them either separate bodies or like packaged together as a single body. That's why we need to keep that in mind so that after the fact we can pull them apart like I was showing you, so that we can lay them out, and we're going to lay them out flat. And I'm going to take care of the laying out flat for you guys. But essentially this is, once you send your file in to me, I'm going to lay it out flat like this. And this yellow box kind of represents the panel of plywood that it's going to get cut out of. Once I do that, I program in all of the what's called toolpath. For some reason, I don't see the toolpath in this model. Let me find a different model that has a toolpath maybe. Okay, so this has toolpaths. So this is something I'll take care of, but essentially what I'm doing on the back end is programming the machine to make these cuts. So this is showing you how that bit is going to move as it cuts. I don't know why this is kind of offset. Let me fix that real quick. Okay, something's kind of messed up with this model, but essentially that is what this machine is doing, is it's cutting these out, pass by pass, cutting out your parts, and then you'll go through and you'll assemble them. Let me show you one other model that will have a couple of kind of features for you to understand here. I might just I'm going to pull Madison's chair. So this was for the furniture design class last time around. This was Madison's design here. And let me see, I should have, for some reason I don't have my toolpaths, but this is what the layouts can look like. You can cut half depth cuts on the CNC, but they all have to be on one side. So if you notice, all of these half depth cuts are all kind of facing up, if you will. The machine can't come up from the bottom and cut. It can only cut top down. So you can do cuts like this. You'll notice like these pieces will perfectly fit this piece here. If I show you this guy, these fit in here perfectly. So that is an option if you're interested. Again, I'm happy to walk you through how to make that. It's not too hard. Yeah, any questions about the CNC machine at all? Anyone like, hey, can I do this particular cut? Any questions at all?
Do you do like organic shapes on the CNC machine?
What's that?
Do you do like organic shapes on the CNC machine?
It can do more complex stuff. I would like to keep stuff pretty flat like this. If you have a particular idea of like, hey, I kind of want to like carve in a little contour in the seat, you can do that. If you're super set on that. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're super set on that, let me know. I'll kind of help take care of that portion for you, just so that everything can get done on time. Yeah. Cool. What do you say we kind of break into, let's make teams of 3. If any of you are not going to be here, please do yourself a favor. Don't join another team, because then they'll be sad. So if you don't want to put some time into this, that's fine. But go ahead and set up some teams of 3. If just chat with each other. Talk to someone you don't know. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Sorry, I'm not a teacher. And any questions, please talk to me. I just joined the Discord. I think I can change my name in there so that you know it's me. But just message me. I'm happy to help out with stuff. I'm typically on campus Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'm happy to help you out here. If you want to just shoot me a text or message through Discord, whatever, it's fine too. I'm here to help.